Hey friends, another story that I think might be useful to you if you're pursuing a career in music. If you're new here, I'm Big Ed. I've been making records for 32 years and I'm here to share my knowledge with you as freely as possible. If there's anything you need to know, let me know. But I don't want you to make the same mistakes I made. I want you to be successful. So the story is that I had a lunch with a friend of mine who's a manager and with my bandmate, Gary, who you may know. He's played a lot on this channel, demoing stuff that we've got. And Gary asked me, hey, what was your first gig like in Nashville? And I thought, whoa, this is a great lesson to learn. So I said, oh, my first gig was kind of interesting because I had just moved here from New York. I left the Highline Riders band in New York, so I didn't have a band here. And I was asked to do a fairly prestigious showcase gig that everybody seems to like to do, at least at that time, 22 years ago. And I didn't have a band. So he's like, well, what did you do? And I said, well, somebody recommended these guys and we didn't have time to rehearse. So I just gave them my music and they made charts. And he's like, well, you didn't rehearse? And I'm like, no. That was like a few days before the gig. And he's like, well, how did that go? It went amazing. They were pros, as most people are here in Nashville. They made charts. Yes, they had music stands on the stage where they read the charts, but they knew the keys, the BPMs, and they had all the chords written out with the Nashville number system. And this is why the Nashville number system is useful, because you might not need to rehearse. I mean, yes, would it be better? Of course, but nobody knew. That's how good it was, and they were just reading off the charts. Now, of course, you don't really want people sitting there reading when you're playing, but the gig went flawlessly, and they were amazing. But the trick to it is, and this is the lesson for the day, I had to be good. I had to be spot on. I had to be in command of my material. Now, fortunately, I've been playing my stuff for years and years, especially the songs that we were going to go play on stage. So as long as you have your confidence and you're practiced and you have your command of what you need to do, you can have people walk up on stage with charts that you've never played before. If they're great, if they're pros, and it can go swimmingly. This did. So another lesson I learned that night that I want to share with you is that most people who are really good at the Nashville number system read ahead. What do I mean by that? So the Nashville number system is like, if you're in the key of G, G is 1, C is 4, that kind of thing. 1, 4, 5, whatever, most of the songs here aren't complicated. Most rock and roll isn't complicated. But it's good to know the structure, verse, chorus, bridge, whatever it may be. So they write it out with the number system. The number system is valuable because you can change keys on a dime, because the numbers are the same. You just change the key. And really good players, especially really good drummers, will have the BPMs all locked in, all programmed for every song in the set. Sometimes they'll have in-ears or at least a drum machine where they can listen to it with headphones. But nowadays it's mostly in-ears. And they just listen to 4 clicks of where they're at, and then they count it off and boom, you're in. And all you have to do is do your job. But the trick they taught me is they read ahead. Once they've got that number system set up for each song, they kind of know, okay, the intro's this and this is the verse. And of course, verses and choruses are usually the same, but they read ahead. They read ahead 8 to 16 bars. Now, that's a craft, that's a skill that needs to be learned because it doesn't come naturally. And that's the other lesson to this. Know where you're going. And this applies to whatever you're doing as a musician. If you're playing an E for 4 bars in a song, and then it goes to a C sharp minor after the 4 bars, you have to be thinking, okay, I'm on this for 4 bars, boom. I know what the next chord is, it's a C sharp minor, and then it goes to an A after 2 bars at C sharp minor. So you know where you're going. If you know where you're going, it's easy as pie. It's simple. And you'll have a much breezier time of presenting whatever it is you have to do. It applies when you're practicing, when you're writing. Just be in command, know where you're going, and hire great people to execute the songs. If you're in Nashville, you'll get used to the Nashville number system, but you can use the Nashville number system anywhere. And actually, if you are going to rehearse, like, when I was back in New York, we would rehearse 1 to 2 times a week, and we still weren't as good as these guys who were just reading off charts. So the charts can be useful wherever you live. You don't have to be in Nashville, but be in command of your material, be practice, know where you're going at all times. That is something you have to practice. But if you're a musician, whether you play piano or keyboards or bass, just know where you're going next. Yeah, you're sitting there and you're grooving and you're getting really into it, but your job is to keep it going, right? And to finish the dang song without any mistakes. And that will go a lot better if you know where you're going. Be in command, know where you're going, trust your musicians.